أحييت تعصيني وتخفي الذنب عن خلقي
7 minutes past 7. Welcome back to Sabahul Muslim on Radio Islam International. Yesterday was Independence Day in Pakistan. Today is Independence Day in India, 14th and 15th of August, respectively. A little later in the program, inshallah, we'll be talking about this. At about 7:45, we'll speak about the 75 odd years since independence or since partition in Pakistan. And then in the third hour of the program, we'll talk about the concerning state of India when it comes to Muslims and it comes to minorities as India celebrates its Independence Day. But it brings us to a question that we ask you, the listeners, this morning, that if you come from India or if you come from Pakistan originally, meaning your ancestry is rooted there, you may be in South Africa all your life, or you may have been in South Africa all your life, your parents, grandparents. In my case, goes right up to the great-grandparents and beyond. So my kids would be like, sixth generation South Africans already. But we are Indian in terms of ancestry. Others would be Pakistani, others would be Somali or Ethiopian or Egyptian or whatever. Are you proud of your ancestry? And how much of connection do you still maintain with the so-called motherland? Some people may say, no, for me, I'm just South African. That's it. In terms of the skin of my color, I may be identified as Indian, or in my ID, they still may have it there as Indian in terms of that classification. And there are those who even argue as to why we should still have that classification. You South African, you're South African, full stop. Whether you African, Indian, colored, or white. For Indians and Pakistanis, is the period long enough to totally disconnect you from your motherland? Look, within the Indian community, as an example, we still talk about which Gam are you from. Maybe 40, 50 years ago, it was more of an issue, unfortunately and unjustifiably, that if you're from this Gam, you don't get your children married to people from another Gam, Gam meaning village, right? I don't think that still exists in the main. Maybe in isolated instances it does, but people are aware, so they say, oh, okay, which family are you from? No, I'm from the Ravat family. Oh, which Gam? Okay, no, it's from Asna, originally pronounced Asra or something like that. Where's that? No, it's just around the corner from Dabel Simlek. Oh, okay. And then who's from that Gam also? Oh yeah, the Bamjis are also from that Gam, and this family is also from that Gam. So there is an interest. There's an interest, right? Secondly, maybe there are still South African Indians who would talk Gujarati, who would know Gujarati, who would understand Gujarati. That obviously we know is on its way out. Unfortunately, again, my kids don't speak, don't understand. I understand. I just don't speak because I haven't been speaking for a long time in the language. My mother, for example, understands and speaks. How much longer that will last, I don't know. Cuisine is one thing where we still have a link to the motherland. So you go to a typical Indian home, even though all the South African cuisine, all South African dishes would have made their way into the cuisine of the house. So you would have the South African braai as an example. Then the other modern foods, your burgers and those kind of things. Then from other cultures, your pizza and pasta, that has already become part of what we eat. But the Indian flavor is still there strong, right? You got your samosas, you got your bhajias, you got your curry khichdi, you got your dal and rice. So even the youngsters, you grow up eating that, so you still enjoy. Not everything. Maybe they don't enjoy so much the mugs and the dal. Some of them do. But that Indian cuisine is still there. So I don't know. I mean, that's why we're asking the question, to what extent would you, as an Indian, as a Pakistani, as a Bangladeshi, as a Somali, as an Egyptian, as an Ethiopian, whether you're first generation, second generation, fifth generation, to what extent do you still identify with your motherland, considering that yesterday was Independence Day in Pakistan, today is Independence Day in India? We will talk about the political aspect of it during the course of the program, as I said. Then if you take a look at white South Africans, right, for them it's much longer that they are here. Do they have they been totally disconnected now in terms of their ancestry as a result of being just so long in South Africa, much longer than the majority of Indians? Initial Indians, that's a different matter. What about Malays? They also have been here much longer than the majority of Indians. So, do they have any connection? There may be certain traditions, again, elements of the culture are still strong there within the Muslim community in Cape Town. But I just thought, it's an interesting point. It's a fascinating discussion. I know some people say, no, you can be South African and still be proud of your heritage, still be proud of where your ancestry is rooted, where your forefathers come from. Others feel, no, I'm South Africa, full stop. Perhaps they're reacting to the kind of political rhetoric that we see from certain political leaders, where maybe Indians are targeted or whites are targeted. So a kind of reaction to that is, look, I'm South African, full stop. Don't classify me further than that. And others may say, no, irrespective of that political rhetoric, I don't have an issue saying I'm a South African of Indian heritage or Pakistani or Bangladeshi or Somali or Egyptian or whatever else. We look forward to your thoughts. 072 786 1548 or email smr@radioislam.co.za. Coming up on the program in a bit, we have our hadith for the morning. We're still on the chapter pertaining to affection and cooperation with Muslims. Then we have the Palestine report for this week with Hafid Ibrahim Musa. Just after 7:30, Words with Maulana Wajah, the competition. Tafsir of Surah Banu Israel continues, inshallah. Then at about 7:45, we speak to Dost Muhammad Barraj about Pakistan 75 years later since 1947's partition. After 8, Davir Witt and Marida has talked to us about the economic situation in South Africa. We continue our discussion on Khadija radiallahu anha as part of the focus on the Azwaj Mutahharat during Women's Month. Mahmoud Patel will talk to us. He's from the University of the Western Cape. He's a lecturer there about the plight of Muslims and other minorities in the spotlight on Indian Independence Day. And then finally, we cross over to Melbourne and we speak to independent political analyst Hashmatullah Musleh, who's a specialist on Afghanistan. And we talk about Sheikh Rahimullah Haqqani, who was recently killed in a bombing attack at a seminary in Kabul. And what does that mean for the Taliban? Who was he? What was his rank? What was his influence, etc.? So that's the lineup between now and 9 o'clock on Sabahul Muslim, inshallah. Whatever's in your mind, you can WhatsApp us, you can SMS us, you can email us, you can communicate with us via Facebook and Twitter. It's just gone 7:15.
Hadith discussions on Sabahul Muslim with Maulana Sulaimaan Ravat.
عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: المسلم أخو المسلم لا يظلمه ولا يسلمه، من كان في حاجة أخيه كان الله في حاجته، ومن فرج عن مسلم كربة فرج الله عنها بها كربة من كرب يوم القيامة، ومن ستر مسلما ستره الله يوم القيامة. متفق عليه. Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, a Muslim is the brother of another Muslim. He neither wrongs him nor hands him over to the enemy. Allah will fulfill the needs of one who fulfills the needs of his brother. Allah will remove one of the difficulties of the day of Qiyamah from one who removes a difficulty from a Muslim. And Allah will conceal the fault on the day of Qiyamah of one who conceals the fault of a Muslim. So what we learn from here is that Muslims are encouraged to live in unity, with mutual harmony, to assist each other wherever possible. That's why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Muslims are like brothers unto one another. Firstly, you don't oppress, don't do any wrong to your Muslim brother. But you can't only stop there, that I don't do any wrong. You have to also assist him. Right? La yuslimuhu, you don't leave him in the lurch, you don't hand him over to anyone who's going to harm him. As long as you are in the assistance of your brother, Allah will continue to assist you. As long as you fulfill the need of your brother, Allah will continue to fulfill your needs. As long as you continue to hide and conceal the faults of your Muslim brother, Allah will conceal your faults. Yes, when it comes to the concealing of faults, it doesn't mean that you can't advise the person that, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Don't do this. These are the consequences. You encourage them and join good for evil. And in certain specific circumstances where their evil may harm other people, then to protect other people, you would have to inform them. That is not, in the category of backbiting, but, generally people's own personal faults that does not affect anyone else's life. It's not for us to advertise. It's not for us to publicize. It's not for us to talk about. It's for us to conceal in the hope that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will conceal our own faults. So this is a famous hadith which covers these important categories of our relationship with our fellow brothers in faith, that you are like blood brothers. Actually, more important than a blood relation is a relation in deen. If you a relation in deen and by blood, then nurun ala nur, as they would say, that's double the blessing. But if it comes between the two, as we saw in the time of Sahaba, they would give preference to those who were their brothers in faith, as compared to those who were their brothers in blood, so to speak, brothers in lineage. You don't harm them. You don't allow others to harm them. You assist them. You remove their difficulties and you cover their faults. That's how you maintain harmony and unity and a good spirit within any Muslim community or society and within the Ummah at large. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala grant us the understanding. 18 minutes past 7 after the break, the Palestine Report.
This is Sabahul Muslim.